terrific show for you today. Coming up for you from Broadway, movies, television, and Star Trek, the unstoppable, the outrageous, and the enormously talented Whoopi Goldberg. Then men who suffer from the Casanova complex. They say one woman is never enough. Obviously, these men are not Jewish, but we will... For a Jewish man, ooh, is she enough? Anyhow, we will meet these men and some of the women who love them. Plus, have you ever tried every diet and said to yourself, it just doesn't work? Well, today, we are going to have the latest battle in the war on fat, brainwashing to lose weight. Oh, I'm doing it. Yes, brainwashing and thigh washing at the same time. It's all going to be here, so don't go anywhere, okay? Okay.
And now, Joan Rivers.
Every single young performer dreams of the day when they're doing their act in some out-of-the-way spot and a famous director comes along and becomes their fairy godfather. Well, that's exactly what happened to my first guest, and director Mike Nichols feels he made a wise investment in her. You know her from such films as Jumping Jack Flash, Clara's Heart, as well as her Oscar-nominated performance in The Color Purple. Will you please give a very warm welcome to my dear friend, Whoopi Goldberg. You obviously dressed for the occasion.
Yes, always, always.
Do you have, I've seen you a lot of times now, do you have any girly dress-up clothes? Yeah.
No, it's very uncomfortable to me. I mean, I see how I'm sitting. You can't do that in a skirt.
Well, you can, but, you know.
But the attention is... That's how I got married the second time. You know, I don't wear them anymore, just this.
What about... I mean, because you're very feminine, God knows, and you love men and men love you, but, I mean, they really have to look beyond what you're wearing sometimes, like sneaks and everything.
Well, you know what it is it's always been my thought that if somebody's really interested, that they'll go through the first or second layer. And if they're lucky enough to last for me to, like, get out of my clothes, then they'll get a big surprise.
Is your underwear sexy?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
See?
That's the big surprise.
That's a surprise.
Yes.
Oh.
And tasty, too. Yes.
What about your house? Somebody said to me, I bet she lives, again, because you're not what you, I mean, the package is not the package that we see.
Right.
Somebody said, oh, I bet she lives in the latest things and all neon and glass. What do you, I said, no, I bet she has antiques.
Yes.
Do you really?
Yes, yes. Lots of wood, and I live on the ocean, so it's just a lot of wood. It's an old house. It's a 50s house, which is like an antique in Los Angeles.
In California it is.
And lots of Indian things. I have a lot of American Indian pieces that I collect.
And you like living, when I met you originally, you were living in Berkeley, up near San Francisco,
right.
But now you've moved down.
Yeah, I don't like to fly, so they said, look, you have to make a decision. You either have to be here or learn to fly. And
but don't you, now you come out of New York, right? Mm-hmm. That's a New York girl.
Right.
And not a wealthy family.
No.
Poor or poor?
Poor.
Poor.
Yeah.
So you're like a city kid.
Yeah.
Because you've got the city street. Don't you miss all that in California?
Sometimes. Sometimes I do. I miss the food.
Yeah.
And New York has the best looking men in the nation, you know. I'm sorry, it's true. Yeah. There's something about men from New York that is completely, I mean, Los Angeles men are wonderful, you know, they're good looking, but there's something very earthy about New York men. So what I like to do is while I'm here, I like to just
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you're engaged. You've been married twice now.
Yes.
You're busy.
I am.
You work and you have a good time.
Yes, yes.
And you engaged again?
Yes.
What makes you think this one's going to work with the last two were quickies and didn't?
Well, I don't think about it much, you know. I figure if it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll try it again.
So why get married?
Well, because I like the performance of the ceremony. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, it's like, I wanted to, like, do some performance art, so I suggested that, you know, maybe that's what the thing is. You know, it's like doing theater. Unfortunately, though, it's very costly to get out of.
I was going to say, did you have prenuptials?
No, I didn't, because I thought that we were all, like, in the performance together. But some people were in it for the money, and so I had to pay them off. I had to pay them off and give them a house and give them a car, and, you know.
Does it just get you crazy?
It makes me berserk.
Oh.
Because you know what it is? It's a great law, because a lot of women were left by their husbands and got nothing. So it's wonderful that you are forced to share, you know, what you've gotten. For me, it was just not a good law, you know, because this was somebody who should not have gotten anything.
And how long were you married with this one?
Well, this was like a year, and then we were... well, the other thing
terrible.
is that because he was trying to get his immigration papers as well. That's not why we got married.
You really pick great guys.
Yeah.
I mean, good looking and really nice.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing, you know, because I didn't want to jeopardize the fact that we didn't get married for that reason. I didn't want to jeopardize his becoming a citizen, because I think people who want to be part of America should be. And so because I didn't do that, and I did something I think that really made him angry, he decided to put it into the courts and force my hand. And so that was a really ugly sort of situation. But I'm over it now.
But
and if God is good, he will have acne where I wished it.
Now, do you want to have more children? Your daughter's how old now?
My daughter's 15. She's going to be 16 in May.
God, time goes.
Yes.
And you had her very young.
Yes. When I was about 19.
And you were married when you had her?
Yes, I was.
So the first time you were married?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Do you still see that father at all then?
No, unfortunately. You know, sometimes I think people forget when they have children that regardless of what the relationship is, you must always sort of let the kid know that they're special. And I think somehow this gentleman's brain didn't register that. So no, he's not been around, which is sort of sad for her. Of course, she's about to have a baby.
Your daughter now is pregnant. Now, is she married?
No.
And she's how old?
She's going to be 16.
Did you just go nuts when she came to you?
No, because I was glad she came to me. You know, it's a funny thing. This is the absolute wrong thing. It would not be what I would have chosen for her. But at the same time, I sort of thought, what a great thing that she's confident enough in me to tell me. You know, not to like sort of, I go, gee, what's wrong with your stomach?
Yeah,
you know, oh, that, you know, we've known it, you know, I've known from the beginning.
Now, you're such, as I am, a pro-choice advocate.
Yes, oh, yes.
As far as abortion goes.
Oh, yeah.
So when she came to you at 15, did you say, all right? Did you really say you got your choice, or did you go, all right, you're gonna have an abortion?
I said, I believe my first reaction was, gee, I should break your legs. I think that was my first reaction.
Your first reaction.
And then she said, well, it really won't change anything if you break my legs. I just have to have the baby in bed, Mom. You know, and I said, well, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to have it. And I did it. I got pregnant because I want a baby. And I said, well, you know, you don't have to have it. She says, yes, I know that. And she said, this is my choice. I'm choosing to have this kid. And I thought, that's great. You know, that's the idea.
That's what it's all about.
Well, yeah, you know, you have to keep in mind, you know, whether you're pro-abortion or not, that is such a personal choice that you should not be berated or bullied or mentally abused for making the choice. And I think this is where I differ with the pro-life people, because I think if you're really pro-life and you see someone, because nobody decides to have an abortion just like, oh, I'm gonna get my hair done and, oh, I think I'll have an abortion. It doesn't work that way. Once you've had one, it's not a pleasant experience.
Did you have one?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm
Oh.
speaking from experience, yeah.
We'll be right back. I have to do a commercial, but we'll come
Okay.
right back. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We'll be right back. We're back talking with Whoopi Goldberg and talking about your early life. You had an abortion, you said.
Yeah.
You worked very hard. When I first saw you and heard of you, you were in the village. You were already starting to do well. But someone told me you worked as a bricklayer.
Yeah.
You have some book in you eventually, you know that.
One day, maybe.
Do you ever still, did you enjoy that, doing the bricks?
Yeah, it was a good way to spend time, and it was a nice piece of change, and I could go do the theater. You know, I could do everything I wanted to do.
And then you worked for Mortician.
Yes, yes.
Why aren't you scared?
No, because what are they gonna do?
Well,
I mean, it's essentially you're working on a life-size doll, you know? And it's the strangest thing is, I'll tell you a funny story. I'm working on this woman, and, you know, nobody explained to me that muscles jump. And I'm telling you, this woman moved, and I looked like a streak. And I'm screaming, fine, if you want your family to think you're dead, that's okay. I will be over here, just get up and leave. I'll try to find a way to explain it to them, you know?
did you do it at night, or you did?
No, do it during the day so I could do my theater work.
And then you worked at the bank. So you really, really worked hard.
Yeah.
When it happened for you, it happened so fast. You went
Yes.
onto Broadway.
Yes.
And then The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Were you able to control it, you know what I'm saying, and accept it, or did it take a long time to say, it's okay now, I don't need 2 jobs?
Well, it's taken a long time. I haven't gotten to the point where I think I can't work, you know. I get
well,
nuts.
you're like I am.
Yes.
Gotta work every day, every day.
Every day. It's got to be something in
Yeah.
that. It was very hard. I mean, it was made easier by, Paul Simon said something the first time I met him. He whispered to me, he said, please enjoy this, you know, because it doesn't happen to a lot of people, and it's so much fun, you know, and he was right. And because he's like one of my heroes, you know, so because he said that I should enjoy it and really, you know, go for it and be excited to meet people and go places and do as much as I could, I did.
In the beginning, you used to go to every party. In California, if there was a major party, and always with a great-looking guy.
Yes.
And with the blue contacts.
Yes.
Remember that for a while?
Blue, amber, green.
That's
oh,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I mean, I'm not one to change my hairdo. You know? I mean, it's not like in me. So I thought I could change my eye color. Why not? You know, women change their fingernail color, they change their hair. I changed my eye color. Then this little guy has something to say about it, this filmmaker.
Spike Lee.
I'm not saying his name, I'm not saying who it was.
But Spike Lee said that you shouldn't be changing your eye color. Stupid.
It was stupid. You know, but, you know, Spike said some really stupid things in his career.
Well, maybe sometimes he's stupid.
Well, you know,
and sometimes he's smart.
He'll learn, you know, he'll learn. And I think when people hit fast, they want to let everybody know how smart they are.
Yeah.
And it'll take him some time. Either that or he'll lose a couple of teeth.
Yeah.
You know, somebody will walk up and say, did you say that about me? And he's like, yeah. I'm going, not me, though. I would never do that.
A lot of people say things about you. You were put on the worst dress list.
Yes, thank God.
But
you know who was on the best dress list? I don't want to be dressed like Nancy Reagan, you know? I don't want to share a column with her.
Yeah, all right, okay. But sometimes by being dressed the way you're dressed, it gets you into trouble. We're going to go to a commercial. I want to talk about the Madison Avenue store.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Oh, we have lots to talk about. All right.
Girlfriend.
So, girlfriend talk. We'll be right back, so don't go anywhere or you're singing. All right. We're getting to Madison Avenue. Goldberg. Now, something awful happened to you on Madison Avenue. You were
Yes.
dressed.
I was actually dressed beautifully, and I'll tell you what it was. I got a great coat. Can I say the name of the store I bought the coat from?
Yes, you can say that. Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
That's Steve-O, but he drinks and he just calls out
see,
during the show.
Blurts, I know. But I bought this fabulous coat from Billy Martin's. This woman does these, they take American Indian rugs and they make them into these gorgeous coats. And I had that on, I had on a great earring, and I was, you know, my hair looked good. I was just looking good and feeling good. And I went to a store on Madison Avenue, and I saw a piece of jewelry in the window because I like jewelry.
I've taught you well.
You have?
That's.
This is because of her.
She once had a lousy little ring, and I said, "Are you crazy?"
Yes. And
So go ahead.
she did. Shamed me into buying something a little more noticeable.
That's right. Good, good. So go ahead.
And I went up to the door, and the man opened the first door, came out of the second door, and he said, "What do you want here?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to look at a piece of jewelry in the window." And he said, "No, you can't come in here. Only special people can come in here. We have a very special clientele." Now, meanwhile, I'm looking at this bag lady in the, you know.
Yeah.
She wasn't a bag lady. She's probably watching. A very nice young woman. And she's dressed in jeans and just really casual, really casual. And I say, "So you only cater to specific people?" He says, "Yes," and tosses a card to me. He says, "You have to call for an appointment." I said, "Okay, remember my name. My name is Whoopi Goldberg. Remember that." So we waited for the lady, my assistant and I waited for the lady to come out. And I said to her, "Do you shop there like often?" She said, "No, I was just looking on the street." I said, "So you're not a special client to these people?" "No, no, no." I took myself over to Billy Martin. I said to my friend Larry, I said, "You know these people?" He said, "Well, I don't take them to dinner, but I know them." I said, "Well, they wouldn't let me in the store." So over we go. Larry rings the doorbell, the door, and the guy opens up, and I hear Larry say between clenched teeth, "You're making a big mistake here. You made a really big mistake. You shouldn't piss this woman off, you know?" and we go in, and suddenly they were doing inventory. Because they had millions of dollars of stuff, they had inventory going, so they couldn't let anybody in. They could let people out. And I said, "Well, I'm worth millions of dollars too, you see. And I think that you're giving me a line here. I think you're full of it." And as it turns out, this is not unusual. And I was floored because this is my city. I grew up here.
Yeah.
And these folks, and like I said, I'm glad when anybody wants to come and be part of it. But I came here, I was from here, and this, and he looked at me like I smeared dog stuff
Now,
on the window.
That's because,
You know?
but you're saying it's because you're black.
I don't
Now,
know
let's
what
say-
it's,
but-
I'm not sure
Or the
it's
funky
because I'm
clothes
black.
are black.
It's probably both. But I'm told that in New York, there are some banks that you can go into, and this is what I hear, that you can go into certain banks if you're black and Puerto Rican, and you give them $1,000 to open a checking account, they want you to verify that you have a job that says where this money came from. To me, in New York City, this floors me. This is the only city in the world that I've been in where I always felt like it didn't matter what I was. But suddenly it's occurred to me, and it's sort of, you know, you see it in your politics here. I mean, this clown Giuliani and Jenkins. I mean, that's what it's about, you know? It's very peculiar.
How often, because I know I find, like, I think there's no anti-Semitism out there. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe like once every 4 years, somebody will say something and go, "Oh, it's still there."
Oh, yeah.
You know, because in our business, we're in such cocoons.
Yes.
And I think that's why it probably floors you so much. And then they let you in because you're Whoopi Goldberg. Well, that's not the point.
That's not the point,
That's
yeah.
not the point, guys.
It's very strange, but it's in our industry as well. I mean, it's a funny thing. I went to this opening to see Dry White Season, and it was the premiere, and you know, they always get up and give a little talk before the movie, and they sort of said, "Wasn't it a grand thing that this black woman directed this movie? This is the first time a major studio is doing it." And people are applauding. I'm going, "No, it's terrible. The movies are like 100 years old. And this is the first time a black woman's directed a major motion picture. This is horrendous."
Now,
It's very strange.
would you want to direct?
Absolutely not. I'm an actor, period. I'm an actor. I'm a real good actor, and that's all I'm interested in.
You never say, "Gee, this city doesn't know what he's telling me to do. I should do it a different way."
Yes, I have said that. Yes, I have said that. But I know what's good for me, and I can be open and listen to other people. However, I don't think that I would be good for other actors because I would drive them berserk. And somebody offered me a directorial debut, and I was gonna do it, and then it suddenly, I had to remember that that's not what I want.
Well, also not on days, your PMS days.
No.
We've talked about that.
You know, it's ugly. It is definitely ugly.
I had a hysterectomy, so I can't join in anymore.
Well,
I'm just nasty all the time now. It's
at least you're not growing a beard. No. Could be worse. Yeah. Could be absolutely worse. Oh, no.
But do you realize how far we've come? That was an inside joke. We did a show together. We talked about PMS on the Carson show, and they went crazy.
Yes, because every woman out there knew what we were talking about.
Right.
And every man who's been with a woman, who's been around PMS, Ron, he knows when it's coming better than I do. My secretary, of course, he just won't show up.
Are you just evil?
Oh, the worst. It's like the exa-whoop. You know, I'm horrible, and they keep telling me it's hormonal changes, you know, and I just think, well, maybe I should have less. You know, you can have liposuction and have big lips put in. They should, like, you know, hormonal discharge or something, you know?
What would you have, because you just mentioned, if you could do anything to yourself, because I think you're great looking, is there anything would change your body, your face? Like, I would get rid of my thighs. If God said, what do you want done? I'd say, oh, God, make these thighs firm. So they don't go good. You know? What do you hate the most about your body?
Nothing.
You're so
I like
lucky.
my body. I like my body. I've let everything move in the direction it's gonna move. You know, because you know, the magic of Hollywood is amazing. If I wanna look busty, I'll wear a bra. If I wanna look sexy, I'll put on some sexy stockings and those high heels, and you can make it work, but I'm so much more comfortable this way. And if I'm not sexy to 90% of the population, that's okay, because that other 10% is gonna have a great time.
But the 90 are gonna have a better time. I'm so glad to say thank you so much. I'm gonna finish the deal. We'll be right back.
Coming up next, 5 members of our studio audience will be brainwashed to lose weight.
Just when you thought you heard of the last of this is it kind of weight loss plans, along comes my next guest. He says all it takes to lose weight is 12 hours locked in a room with him and a strong stomach to take his abusive talk. Will you please welcome the man who brainwashes people to lose weight? I mean, this is so great. Dr. William Nagler. How nice to have you. And what do you do? How does the brainwashing work?
What brainwashing does is take a thin person's belief system and put it in a fat person's head. I mean, we interviewed 1,000 thin people and said, what do you do to stay skinny?
Right.
And they said, I don't eat so much. And I said, aren't you hungry? And they said, of course, fool. How do you think I stay skinny? What you have to do is be hungry. See, every diet in the country is the no hunger, feel terrific diet.
That's right.
Well, we've developed the be hungry, feel like rhymes with wit diet because that one works. All you have to do...
Be hungry rhymes with?
Wit. That's how you have to feel.
Be hungry, feel like?
Rhymes with wit.
With an S in front.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
You've got no other option, because in order to lose weight, you just have to cut back. Now, people aren't dumb. I think what I dislike most about traditional weight loss programs is that they claim they're going to teach you what to eat. Oh, come on. I mean, between an apple and an apple pie, people know.
Oh, there's no question.
Yes.
There's a question.
So what the difference is between thin people and fat people is hunger, emotions, and cravings. Now, obviously, thin people get hungry. Obviously, we have emotional triggers to eat, and obviously, we have cravings to eat. Hunger's not the problem. You only eat 5% of the time when you're hungry, let's face it.
So what do? You take people in a room and you say, you're a pig?
Okay.
I mean,
What we do.
Like the Vietnamese movies, all right, you know, American swine, get over there with your big thighs.
That would be Chinese brainwashing, and we started with that.
All right.
Now we use classic Russian and a little bit of Chinese techniques. Technically, what you're doing is alternating vast periods of sensory deprivation and a little sensory overload, or in plain English, vast periods of boredom coupled with a little stimulation. The mind can't tolerate it. It's the same thing that Reverend Moon does to people, and 12 hours later, with near 100% success rate, you believe he's Jesus. You go out, shave your head, pick up your flowers, head off to the airport.
And Moonies are all thin.
Yes, it works very
Moonies
well.
are all thin. Now,
No, the brainwashing's not for everybody. The average person who needs to lose weight should stop eating like a pig.
yeah, but,
However, right.
Yeah, well,
Now,
easy to say.
if you've fallen off every diet you've ever been on,
me.
you go on the diet, you lose 10 pounds, you regain 20.
Yeah.
Or you're a binger, you got the peanut M&Ms in your lap.
That's me.
You've eaten half the bag, you're full, you're stuffed, you don't want them. You
But-
say, Bill, by the end of tonight, I'm going to finish the bag and I don't even want them. I can't control myself around
That's
food.
me.
Right.
Absolutely, that's me.
What the brainwashing specifically does is give you the control over the cravings and the emotional triggers. The recreational eating, the grazing. I mean, let's face
So
it.
how many people have you done this with?
Okay, not a lot. We've only been doing it for 6 years. We've got a few more than 3,000 people that have gone through the program.
And have lost weight?
And, well, not all of them. We did a follow-up study that we're
Yeah.
publishing in the medical literature, and we got 73%. Now, that's not bad. After one brainwashing,
73% of the people you brainwashed.
14 months later, had lost a significant amount of weight and kept it off. No dieting. Dieting makes people fat. I get in a patient once a week who wants to gain weight. I send them to the local weight loss clinic. They'll go on the diet for 2 weeks. They'll lose 5 pounds. They stop the diet, and feeding frenzy steps in. You know, and they'll gain 15 or 20 pounds over the next
Are
month.
you naturally thin?
Naturally thin. My mother's a terrible cook. And
That's what does it, yeah.
yes. And, you know, my grandfather was talking to Adele Davis in the 50s, growing soybeans in the basement, so I had it easy. But for most people who aren't naturally thin, they need the control over the cravings, those Mrs. Fields cookies that followed them home.
Oh, so good, yes.
And it's mostly the emotional triggers, like I'm bored and I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
And the difference between thin people and fat people is anxiety. I get a craving, and it's like a sexual craving. It can be fun to enjoy it, but a fat person gets that craving, and anxiety starts to rise, and anxiety starts to rise, and anxiety starts to rise. And the only thing they can do to decrease the anxiety is to eat the cookie.
Now, do you know what we're planning to do?
I have heard.
Yes, I am going to be brainwashed by you. Oh, yeah. Listen, this is why you have your own show. I'm not a fool. I'm sitting on a lot of, padding there. And we have picked 4 volunteers from the audience who are going to stand up, if you would, please. There are 4. Okay, Chubettes, looking good, healthy. Looking healthy. Okay, all 5 of us now, we're going to be weighed in. You're going to do them tomorrow, right?
Yes.
12-hour sessions. Are you guys ready for this? 12 hours, and we're going to film it. And then you're going to come to my hotel privately, because I'm scared you make us wear our underwear. Do you do that? Like you get everyone down to their underwear and say, because that's what I'm scared of. And then we're all going to meet back here in 4 weeks and see if it works.
It does work.
And if it works, you don't know, but you and I are engaged. We'll be right back, so don't go anywhere. Okay, let's do it. Okay. Have you ever known a Casanova? A man who loves on the run, who's incapable of sustaining any kind of a real relationship for more than 2.5 seconds? Well, Joseph Bolanos is a 37-year-old man who has never been married and admits to sleeping with over 100 women in his life. Okay, Peter Trachtenberg, right? Trachtenberg says he is a recovering Casanova. He was a compulsive womanizer for 14 years. Peter says his out-of-control need for sex was viewed by him, and I'm sorry, and others as macho and manly and admirable. Okay, Peter, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
He has written a book called The Casanova Complex. Please welcome Joseph and Peter. And I'm so eager. It's just, I know there is a Casanova complex. And explain really what it is. I'm sorry for laughing.
That's okay. I mean, it's the kind of thing that people laugh about, but what it is about the use of women as drugs.
Yes.
It's about men who use women to satisfy an unappeasable sense of need and who immediately turn women into their enemies as soon as they're finished with them.
And you just would go from one woman to the next woman to the next woman.
You know, I would periodically be in longer relationships. I was married, the marriage collapsed, And the fact was that as soon as I was with one woman, I was looking for a way to get out of it.
But you think it's only men?
Oh, no.
You think
no.
women have the same feelings?
Look, the thing is that in our culture, this is considered normal behavior for men. Women who practice the same behavior are called sluts or nymphomaniacs.
Right.
But this is long been considered normal and, masculine behavior.
Now, let me go to you, Joseph.
Okay.
You still say you are a Casanova.
Yes, I am.
So you just, in other words, while you're with one woman, your eyes are already going to the next woman.
Well, let's just say I have a varied interest in many different types of women.
Have you ever had a real relationship?
Sure, yes.
For how long?
About a year and a half, 2 years.
Did you cheat while you were having that relationship? The truth.
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second. No, I didn't.
So, in other words, you can sustain some kind of relationship.
Sure.
What did it feel like being faithful?
Actually, it felt very pleasant considering that, there's a lot of juggling and there's a lot of, it's like appointment making when you're dating a lot of people. So there's a lot of relief when you do have one person that you can share a lot of things with. However, it's very hard to find somebody like that. So in the interim, you usually date a lot of people.
Date or sleep with?
Generally both.
Yeah. Is it sex that drives Casanovas? What drives Casanovas?
Okay, one of the things I have to talk about is that when I was interviewing men for the book, a lot of them would talk about the fact that they didn't enjoy sex. They were into sex as performance. They were like Ed Koch. It's like they're in bed and they're going, how am I doing? How am I doing?
Yeah.
I loved it.
You love it.
I loved it.
The fact is that I needed to feel wanted. It was about feeling that I was desirable, about feeling that I was complete.
Macho.
Yeah.
That's why I started to laugh. But this
Yeah.
guy is macho. I've had 7 girls this morning.
Yeah, and look at and
But
look at me.
they're all pigs, so who cares?
Yeah, right.
That's why I started to laugh. I mean, because it's not just the number; it's the quality of it.
And it's not about quality. I mean, the thing is that I operated in a state of continual panic, and most of the men I spoke with seemed to also. And there was a need to prove that I was powerful enough to make a woman go to bed with me.
How often do you think about sex during the day? 2 hours, 6 hours?
It's not a question of just reflecting on it. It's when you see somebody that you're attracted to, all of a sudden you'll start to project.
How often do you see someone you're attracted to?
Yeah, very good question.
A lot less than I used to be, but I still, a few times a day, maybe 5, 6. It's hard to pin a number. It all depends on where you are.
That's normal if you don't do anything about it, isn't it? You say, ooh,
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, I mean...
Even I say that at my age. Oh, that grandfather's attractive. If Santa Claus lost a little weight, then
Trimmed
he's
his beard.
groovy.
The difference is we follow it up a lot more than a normal person would have. Whereas
It's about acting out on impulses, knowing that, you may not be attracted to the same woman 2 hours from now.
So you're really smashing a lot of lives, aren't you? I mean, if you take a woman and you start a relationship with a woman and then you realize in 2 hours, this is a terrible thing for men to do.
Yeah.
It's over, in bed, out of bed.
But there's also, there's a difference because in my experience, I've never misled anybody. I mean, there are different types of people men that will go off and they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll mislead.
You never lied in order to sleep with a woman?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really, honestly.
Did you ever say, you're one in a long line, honey, and take a good look at me because tomorrow you're never going to see me again and I get into bed?
No,
Well, then you lied.
But that wasn't my intention at the time, though. It was always a new experience. I mean, if I met somebody and I was attractive, I was open to maybe it would...
The thing is that, these men, or we, if you want to be honest about it, we're not necessarily cold-blooded. We're not necessarily preparing a line. I know that the men I call romantics, for example, have to hypnotize themselves or seduce themselves into the illusion that they're in love. You need to feel it, and of course, within a couple weeks or a couple months, it evaporates.
What's the difference between a Casanova and a man who just really can't commit?
Look, most people can't commit or have difficulty with it, genuinely.
Don't you think that society, though, that says it gives us the right not to commit now?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
The difference, though, I think the distinction is that a Casanova, even though we like to think that it's all geared towards sex, I think that my experience is it's also just having fun. There's a certain element where when you do have an exchange with a person of the opposite sex, you're really having fun. The sex many times for me was consequential. I mean, it was in the back of my mind, but yet that wasn't the purpose in just initiating it.
Do you feel there are some women that are attracted to the two of you because you don't care?
Sure.
A certain kind of woman goes,
because we don't care, but because we're going to vanish, because we represent danger.
Or we're more aloof to a certain extent.
We're going to be back with two women who claim their lives have been ruined by men like you. So don't go anywhere. We are back. We are talking about the book called The Casanova Complex, I should have mentioned before, by Peter Trachtenberg. And joining us now are two women who've had bad experiences with Casanovas. Christine Duke has known several Casanovas and believes she's addicted to them. She's single, she's never married, and as she said, she keeps getting dumped on time and time again, and that's just awful. Sable, that's not your real name, is not using her real name, but she was married to a Casanova for 9 years. She is now separated from him. She's trying to pick up the pieces of her life. Will you please welcome them, Christine and Sable. Christine, let me start with you for a second. You've had several relationships with these kind of men that just can't commit, that there are other women around. Why do you keep going back to that same kind of man?
Well, I think the attraction has always been that they're very seductive and that there's a big chase involved. It's not me running after them, it's them running after me. And being very romantic and sweeping me off my feet, giving me a lot of hope that there's going to be something going on, even if they're not verbalizing that, just, you know, declarations of love in public. A sense that I am truly the most special woman that they've ever had in their life. Nobody can compare with me, and they're very fortunate that they found me.
And then they disappear.
Yeah.
Then they disappear.
Yeah, after the conquest.
Right.
After the conquest.
Which is just, so how do you trust anybody? How do you trust the next man that comes along?
Well, now I recognize that this is a pattern that I have, and I deal with it through various kinds of therapy and self-help kind of stuff.
Now, Sable, you married, I just get to Sable story. You married a Casanova.
Yes,
Did you have any idea?
I had no idea in the beginning, because as Christine said, he pursued me, and he won me over, and well, what he offered me was promises that I believed in, and well, the rest is history.
How did you find out he was a Casanova?
Well, the hint that I had was the fact that he would come home and tell me stories of his co-workers and his friends' escapades, you know, how they would cheat on women, their wives, and he seemed to idolize what these guys were doing.
Didn't he once say to you, there are a lot of, what was it? Tell me the quote.
He says, there are a lot of women out there, and it's my duty to please them. I have to please them all.
What was the last straw?
Well, the last straw was when his co-worker, I called his job, his co-worker had informed me, had said to me that, congratulations on your new car, you know what I'm saying? And I said, what new car, you know? And he says, you know, the Lincoln, what Lincoln? We can't afford, a car. He says, I've seen the car, it's beautiful. So I had to find out. So I came home, I asked him about it, and he denied it. Okay, that was the last time I've actually seen him in the house. You know, he
But
just
the Lincoln
disappeared.
was given him by one of the women?
By one of the women, yes.
Now, women give Casanovas gifts. Are Casanovas great in bed? Truthfully. Be honest with yourself.
Okay, they're good technicians. You know,
They're very good technicians, and part of the situation is that because it's going to be temporary, you have a tendency of performing better than if it's a long-term situation.
what it's all about is performance for these men. It's about making women, not pleasing women, but turning women into grateful, appreciative audiences.
But, you know, the one thing...
Was your husband hot in bed? Is what they're saying?
He was okay, he was good, he was good.
What about you?
I think that there's this, like Peter said, technically there's an expertise about it, but it's like if you could take their head off and put it on the headboard of the bed, and their body were functioning, that's what you're dealing with, this detachment, emotional detachment.
I think we went out a couple of times. I think maybe we went, because I remember that headboard.
So.
When you're with women, as two Casanovas, I know you're an ex one, Peter, Do you realize you're so cold, or do you believe the fantasy of the moment? Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Then the next morning you go, ugh, look at him in the morning, puke.
It's an experience. I mean, it takes two also. It's not something that it's a persuasive situation, at least not in my personal experience. You know, there are people that are cooperative in the same circumstance. You meet somebody, they want to have fun, you want to have fun.
But part of it is based on the projection of false pretenses. You know, I know that for a long time I believed what I was doing. And when I began to look at my own history and see I'd done the same thing over and over and over again, and began to feel horribly ashamed, you know, that is when I began to look for help.
Well, when it begins to get repetitious, you start hearing yourself almost saying the same things and maybe even doing the same things. At that point, it does catch up to you.
Do you think, Christine, one of the reasons you're attracted to these kind of men is because you feel, I can change him? I've got that special something, and he'll say, sweetheart, I've had a million, but Christine, baby, it's you and me forever. Let's buy that ring.
Definitely, definitely. That I'm going to be different. I'm going to make the difference in his life. You know, I'm so valuable. And part of that is, again, not just my self-esteem, but what I'm being told.
But whose
that
fault is that, though? I mean,
No.
I have a hard time with that, because I think that if you know that and you expect the person to change, and they don't because they're being themselves as they've been all along, who's at fault there?
You see, often the appeal that these men make is that of the wounded man. No one has ever understood me. I've been hurt by other women.
Exactly.
You know, you can change me. There's an appeal for rescue. And of course, certain women come from families where they had to rescue their parents, where they were prematurely forced into positions of adulthood. That's how they learn how to get love as children, and that's how they'll try to achieve it as adults.
Well, I thank you all very much. The book is terrific. The Casanova Complex by Peter Trachtenberg. I hope you find great guys, and you slow down. It's a dangerous world.
What are you doing after the show?
We'll be right back. Thank you for watching. I want to say that on November 10th and November 11th, I will be at Caesars Tahoe, and I'll be there with Will Schrein, who's adorable. So if you're in the area, come and see me. And thank you for watching our show. It was a good show, wasn't it? See you tomorrow.